All right, step 2 of the 7 steps to a killer indie song is create a killer chord progression and melody. This is where your song really starts to take shape. And once you have the kernel of an idea from step 1, now we need to actually create a chord progression and a melody that we can actually then call it an actual song. Now, this doesn't mean that in this step you have to have the entire song mapped out. But what you want to focus on is you want to feel like you have a verse 1 and you have a chorus 1. Because if you have that, then the rest of the song can be built from that place. Now, what are the requirements? What should you be looking for when it comes to a killer chord progression and melody? What makes that so? Well, it's threefold. 1, it feels good. 2, it sounds good. 3, there is no third step. So if it feels good and if it sounds good, then you are off to the races. You are set. Nothing else matters. That is what matters. Now, if you're struggling to get the chords and the melodies that you like, then here are just a couple additional tips that can help you. 1 is you want to make sure that you create tension and release. You don't want your melodies to sound, da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Or you also don't want your melodies to just follow the chord progression exactly. So if it's like da 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 da, right? You want to create some tension between when you're talking about the interplay between the chords and the melodies. You want them to, on occasion, maybe fight a little and then come back and resolve and then kind of come apart for a second. And then when you're talking about just the melody, you want to implement what I call elasticity. You want to have that elastic band effect on your melodies where you're stretching it out and then you're resolving it. It's not just da 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 da, So we want to make sure that we are implementing, that we are infusing our songs with enough tension so that we can keep the listener's interest and we can kind of keep that story evolving from the start of the song all the way to the end of the song. So that's very important. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is make sure that you're leaving plenty of empty space and gaps between the vocal lines. And this is especially the case if you're going for, say, like a Bon Iver style, very chilled out indie folk, ambient indie type of sound. You don't want to, fill up every second of the song with vocal melodies. Make sure that you're leaving enough gaps in between the lines. Now, if you're struggling to find a chord progression that you like, then there's nothing wrong with stealing a chord progression from a song that you like. So you can open up Spotify or Apple Music and listen to some songs until you're like, I like that chord progression. I'm going to steal that. Now, if you feel bad about doing that, and especially if it's a very unusual chord progression that maybe will sound like, especially if it's a popular song and it's an unusual chord progression, it might not be the best move. But what you can do, if you want to alleviate some of that guilt, is copy the chord progression except just change one chord, right? So an example of that is, if it's a 6 minor, 5, 3 minor, 4 chord that you're copying from a song, make it 6 minor, 1, 3 minor, 4. And just change one chord in the progression so that it's not exactly the same. But that can really help sort of give you a base line and a springboard of, hey, here's a chord progression, start here, and then just make a small change here or there so that you can call it your own. And then finally, if you're not a lyrics first person, which I'm not, I'd like to let the lyrics kind of just develop over time. I don't generally write my lyrics very fast. And that's okay. You can sing gibberish. When it comes to the melody, you don't have to have the lyric down. We can kick the can of the lyric down the road and worry about that in step 3. So you don't have to worry about that for now if you don't want to. So let's dive back into the session, which, as we did in step 1, as I walked you through, we just have one sound, right? This is where we're starting from. Just this little sound in omnisphere. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of try to keep this going. I'm going to mess around with this again. I think I'm going to try to up this tempo a little bit more. Let's try 120. That way I can kind of hit those stabs so there's not as much of a gap in between. So let's, I'm just going to play around a bit, and if it takes too long, maybe I'll fast forward through some of these parts. That way you don't get bored. But, this process is sloppy. It's not, as much as I want this to just go bam, 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 like hitting on all cylinders, that's not usually how this works. And so I'm going to try to be as transparent as I can as I'm walking you through this process. So I'm just going to start recording. I'm going to start playing around, and then we'll just go from there. Okay, I think this. So here's the little chord progression I got here. So kind of drag this up. So I think I like that. Now I'm going to quantize the first chord. That way, if we want to duplicate this at any time, we don't run into problems. And if you've duplicated MIDI before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's often a good idea to just quantize the first chord, and then, but I don't have to worry about the rest. The rest are fine. Yeah, so just a little, it's like a 1, which is a C major in this case, down to, so it's like a descending line, and then to the A minor, which is the 6th chord, and then the 4 with like a major 7 and a 9. So it's like it's actually kind of a C major with the F in the bass. You could think of it in that way too, as far as the notes that are being played here. So I think I like this chord progression. I think I can build off of this. So this right here could be like an intro or even a verse. This could be. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make this the verse. Or I'm gonna start here anyway. And we could repeat that and label this the verse. 3, 4. Okay, well, I lost track of where I was there. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I should have ended that chord earlier, but I think I like what I did there. Okay, so now that I kind of have a bit of a structure, I'm gonna go ahead, grab a little vocal track here. The first thing I'm gonna do is put a gate on this, because that way, because I have all this noise right now, just with this is not an official setup here, since this is just like off the cuff, because these are all scratch takes, maybe not the keyboard track or any of those, but the vocal track here is for sure a scratch take. So that way you don't have as much noise bleeding through, so it's not as annoying. So that's the first thing. Then I'm gonna put on, let me turn that off. I'm gonna add a little bit of auto-tune, and I love hearing auto-tune in my ears because it helps me get better melodies. So it's kind of becomes more of like playing the melodies on an instrument where you can kind of really lock into the notes. And yeah, it's just, for me, it helps me get better melodies. So I'll put some auto-tune, pitch it to or set it to the key of the song, which as of right now, we're in C major. I'm gonna also put on JJP vocals. Testing. Get rid of some of those highs. So now, let's see what we can come up with. So here we go. This is a call, now I will go, now I don't want you, no. This is a call down, I don't want your mouth and then a call. This is a call light, I don't want your life and then a call light. And this is a call light, I don't want your mouth in my arms. I don't wanna go back to the silent time and on a ghost right now. And I call it out, don't wanna let you right now. In the light Okay, so that's where I end. Okay, I think we got a bit of a melody there. So I'm gonna try to keep this chorus going here. Wanna go back to the silent time and on a ghost I know. And I call it out, don't wanna let you right now. And I know, whoops, let you right now. I don't know where it goes, I just hear when the lights are coming out. I leave for sure, it's all I ever more. Maybe, I don't know. Let's listen to what we got. I don't wanna go back to the silent time and on a ghost I know. And I call it out, don't wanna let you right now. I don't know where it goes, I just hear when the lights are coming out. I leave for sure, it's all I ever more. I think we got something to build off of, right? I think we got something to build off of. I think I like the chord progression for the verse and the chorus here. So now what I'm gonna do is to sort of solidify this, I'm gonna add an instrument or sound that can kind of glue or just to bring some clarity to the actual chords, because the sound, this omnisphere patch is, doesn't quite have as much of that glue that you would like. So I'm just gonna pull in addictive keys, and I'm gonna kind of double over the chords that are on that patch in Omnisphere with maybe this preset. Time Flies is probably my favorite preset inside of addictive keys. So I'll give that a shot. Let's see what we got. This is a call, no, I'm gone, no, I don't want you. This is a call down, I don't want your mouth, and then a call up. This is a call light, I don't want your life, and then a call light. And this is a call light, I don't want your mouth in my arms. I don't wanna go back to a silent time and on a ghost I know. And I call it out, don't wanna let you right now. I don't know where it goes, I just hear when the lights are coming out. I leave for sure, it's all I ever more. Okay, so check it out. As these songs and these projects very often go, after my first sit down, which, as you just saw, I kind of came up with this melody and this chord progression. Well, a few hours later, which is now, as of recording this, I was like, I think I could definitely make a better melody. I'm not really feeling it. So what I did was I did retain some of the elements, but I went back in and I recorded a new vocal track, and it sounds so much better. I think this is going to be killer. It sounds so good to me as of now. Maybe I'll change my mind. But in any case, I really, really feel good about this right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just play this, what I came up with. So it is sort of, again, based on where we started from, but it is a bit different. So here we go. This is a call out, I don't want your mouth in the call. Call me, I don't want you to see it more. I don't wanna be here, I don't wanna be here in the silence, no. It's calling out in my night phone. Oh, I just wish you were here again. And I just wish you
sure. I thought it was an open door.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? And I don't know if you noticed, but the gibberish for this take, this time, there are a lot more actual phrases and actual words that, wow, it feels emotionally connected. Like the gibberish started to turn into actual lyrics. Like when the chorus comes in here.
I just wish you were here.
Like I'll probably keep that.
And I just wish you were here.
Like why would I ever change that? I probably won't. And it's not like I wrote down that lyric or even had that in mind. No, the mood of the music and the melody informed that lyric. So this is why I love this approach. And yeah, this is now, so I just called an audible. I'm just hopping in here and I decided I want to switch up the melody a bit. It starts off pretty similar to how we started, right?
This is a call out, I don't draw.
You know, to this.
Oh no, I don't want you.
Right?
Oh.
And that's pretty much the same as well.
I don't want you to see it more.
But then this third line, I completely switch up the pattern and the motif.
I don't wanna be here.
And it just opens up a new
I
door.
don't wanna be here in the silence, no.
And then it goes back to the original motif.
It's calling out in my night phone. Oh, I just wish you were here again. And I just wish you were here.
Anyway, that is the new melody that I came up with. And yeah, I think we're on the right track. It's not like the first one was bad, but I think this connects with me. This I feel like is believable. It feels authentic and it feels very raw, but in a good way, right? So I'm very excited. I hope you're excited, and I can't wait to continue to watch this song grow and evolve throughout this entire 7-step process.